All right, from temperature to internal energy. Internal energy is the type of energy that any object, any substance that consists of particle has by default, because those particles make up that substance and those particles are constantly in motion. So since they're in motion, they will have mechanical energy. And there are two types of mechanical energy that you know is mechanical energy is potential and kinetic. So kinetic energy basically has to do with how fast the particles are moving. And potential energy has to do with how close they are or how far apart they are. So mechanical energy is kinetic and potential. And because every particle in an object has a certain amount of mechanical energy, when you add up all those energies, all those individual energies of particles, you can talk about internal energy. So for example, if I have 2 cups of water, let's say 25 grams of water in each, if one of them is hotter than the other, that means that the molecules are moving faster. So even though they have the same amount of particles, as you said in the beginning, both of them are 25 grams, which means that the number of particles is the same, essentially. And since the hotter object has faster moving particles, that means that the internal energy of it is greater. However, I can have 50 grams of water and 25 grams of water have the same internal energy. That would imply that my particles in the smaller amount of water would be moving faster. It's like, again, 3 people speaking in a room, 30 people speaking in the room. They can have the same amount of sound energy. If 3 people are screaming and 30 people are whispering, or if they're all speaking in their normal voice, obviously there's going to be more noise in the in the room with 30 people. So you add energies, the more particles you have, the more energies you add, and then if the particles are moving faster or if they're farther apart, that's going to affect internal energy. So how can we change internal energy? We can change either one of those, either kinetic energy of the particles or potential energy of the particles. Kinetic energy of the particles means that if it's increasing, the temperature will increase. If it's decreasing, temperature will decrease. So particles are moving faster, higher temperature, particles are moving slower, lower temperature. Potential energy is how far the particles are apart. So if potential energy of the particles is increasing, that means that they're moving farther apart, like if you're going from liquid to gas. Particles of gas are so far apart from each other, so it has a higher amount of potential energy inside it. So particles have higher potential energy, and therefore gas has higher internal energy than water. And then potential energy decreases. Say we had gas and it turned into water. You had vapor and it condensed into water. Potential energy of the particles decreased. They came closer to each other. And so that's your change in internal energy through either changing temperature, heating up, cooling down, or through changing phase. Maybe you're liquefying a solid, or maybe you're vaporizing a liquid. We'll go back to it a little later. So change in internal energy can happen 2 ways. You can heat something up, transfer energy as heat. So again, remember, heat is not energy. Energy is energy. Heat is a way of transferring energy. It can be conduction, convection, radiation. So in this case right here, you have conduction through the pot and then convection going on inside the pot. And you can also do work. If you take a screw and you drill it in and drill it out, it's going to be extremely hot, because work of friction, work done by friction, turns mechanical energy into non-mechanical. So